We'll get today's bite going.
How is everybody doing? Let's hear the fishing reports. I want to know where they're at and how they're biting because my life has been chaotic. So it's time to get back
Chaotic.
fishing. Yes.
Some folks get on. I say one, two, three. Guys, as you know, go ahead and hit the hashtag 25K Crappie
Whoa, whoa,
Connection.
whoa.
We're getting there day by day. And I got some input even on those. Oh, I hear you.
Don't
On
worry
those
about that.
numbers, a little update for you guys. Over the last week on YouTube, we've gained 150 new subscribers. So if you're new to today's bite, our YouTube channel, you're watching from YouTube tonight, make sure you chime in and say, hey, this is the first time we're watching today's bite. Appreciate you guys joining us every week. I see Mitch, Charles Henderson. Those guys know the program. They're hitting the 25K Crappie Connection. But definitely, if this is your first time watching today's bite, our Tuesday night show sponsored by Bobby Girl and Baits, make sure you comment and let us know. Like I said, I definitely appreciate you taking your time out of the day and joining us for this. Mr. Reggie Hillman,
Absolutely. Look, we
Steve.
got Travis Goodwin, Holden Higgs. Hey, all the originals here. We got all our guys back. Here
That's
we
right.
are.
The party's about to get going.
I even got my
Merry
lease
Christmas
on.
as well. Christmas will be next week. It's coming on quick, man. And it's my favorite time of the year, of course. It's the holiday season's always fun, chaotic, but also fun. But can't forget about these
Yeah.
slabs out there. They still need some loving too.
Hey, Charles Henderson, shout out real quick. He said 42 years today, his anniversary. Happy anniversary, Charles. Thanks for watching on your anniversary. I can't believe you got away with this. You have to be like snuck in the bathroom, told you're going to the bathroom or something to get away with watching some Crappie Connection on your anniversary. But happy anniversary and congrats for making that far. That's kind of unheard of these days, unfortunately, to be married that long. I'm coming up on 4 years deep in mine, and 42 years seems a long way down the road, but I bet it's there before you know it.
Yep, got a lot of guys coming on. I appreciate all the 25K Crappie Connection.
I
Somebody
appreciate
said,
it.
let's go for a 200 or 50K. I like that as well, but
Hey, I
we'll hit that
appreciate the
25K
hashtag
first.
Dustash. I like the hashtag Dustash there, Jordan.
Okay, I actually had another
I need to
person.
change my guide service to Dustash Fishing.
I like it. I like
I'd
it.
have to bring this bad boy out year round though. Hey, today I was helping my brother. He has a little fencing business and he stays pretty busy with. And we were I was cutting some pipe and we're putting on some top rail and welding. And I caught this side on fire. And you talk about the worst smell in your life when it's right there under your nose. But I caught it on fire with a little molten metal, and I almost lost the stash today, guys. I had to check, make sure it was still alive, but we're good to go.
Well, we got a first time viewer, Rodney. Definitely appreciate you coming on, man. Hopefully you enjoy the show. Got a lot of great people that chime in every week and kind of help us out with questions. If you got any kind of crappie fishing questions, make sure you chime in and ask us. We'll be glad to help you. And I can promise you, by the different people that help us out in the comments every week, we can get you an answer on just about anything related to crappie fishing. Like I said, it's a real fun week for your family and just to be alive and thank Christ for what he's done for us. And definitely thank everybody
Absolutely.
doing that. And
Amen to
Merry
that.
Christmas definitely is on my agenda for this week.
A
But
lot of things to be thankful for
I
sure.
definitely think of this week, and I did a post on some different topics, and it's just been a real fun week, even on the Facebook side of things. But uh, do's and don'ts for these December crappie. And, water temperatures playing a role where I'm fishing at, and it's starting to drop and start to settle down. And I fished last week, but also I tried out power brakes first time on my boat, got them installed. Two of my buddies helped me put those
Oh,
out, Michael Sylvester and uh, Wiggles. They
can't
actually
even
helped
you
me
can't even
install
say
them last
power
week.
brakes. You can't even say power brakes without smiling.
Man, Christmas came early for me last week.
Yes, sir.
I definitely, they are a game changer,
Man,
and it's going to take a little bit of practice to get used to. But I kind of got occupied when I got out there. I was like, man, all right, I see a fish, and I started fishing for them, and wound up fishing more and playing with the brakes. But they are definitely a game changer, and hats off to those guys over at Power Brakes. And I really
for
like the
sure.
product personally, and I
That's
can't wait to
awesome.
do more fishing with them. It's just going to
And it don't take a long time to learn those either, really. I've had
Mhm.
some messages, like how long will it take me to learn those breaks, just breaks in general, crappie breaks,
Yeah.
chasing those suspended fish, and really you catch on to it. It took me maybe a day. Once you learn bolt control and live scope first, then those breaks are something you can throw in after, and it's just another little tool to help you. But you want to get your boat control and everything down before you throw those breaks on, and it'll just be that much easier to learn and get really tuned in with it for sure. And then when you go fishing without them, you'll feel naked and want them on there pretty bad.
I had a couple people ask me what was the advantage of using trolling motors on the back, power brakes, and I think Dustin's you're not too laggy, but I've really seen two different things that are going to really help my fishing out. I know, sorry about that, but I really think the boat slap.
I was seeing if I was lagging.
Seeing cutting down on the boat slap going into the wind, I can kind of now actually go with the wind and stop the boat, present my bait without a boat slap going as much. I definitely think that's a big advantage of them, and also just chasing these open water fish and stopping and pulling back on. I definitely they're just game changers. That's for sure.
Oh, here's a good one. A good question already. Thank you guys for the questions and the fishing reports. Good fishing reports coming in. Darbone today from Kermit. He said, fish Darbone, fish are on trees in the channel, 30 foot of water. Sounds about right for Darbone. And I bet that's a blast. There's a lot of fish in that lake, and it is fishing well. A quick question just to start us off, Brad. Why do you work a jig up and down while ice fishing, but everybody says to hold it still in regular water? Isn't that a good question?
I can't really speak a whole lot about the ice fishing side of things, but just the advancement of live sonar and just seeing how fish react to the movements of jigs. And I'm not saying that it's a golden rule you can never catch fish going
Right.
with up and down motion by no means, but it seems like to me a subtle slight movement going up away from them is probably about the best movement of all. Of
Oh,
course,
I got a good one for this one.
you got
I
a
got
good
a
one.
good one for this one. My theory with this is ice fishermen has been doing it right all along, because ice fishermen don't really jig up and down; they shake it more than anything. It's almost like a vibration of the
Yep.
jig. The jig's popping like this, and we do that with live scope more than anything. If you're wanting to have a bite, Brad, I've seen on your videos as well.
Mm-hmm.
You take your finger and you sit there and tap it. When we're tapping those 15 foot to 18 foot rods, and we're doing this, that jig is sitting there going pretty extreme with that long a rod. So the jig is sitting there and shaking up and down, kind of like what fishermen do, is just shaking their jig. I mean, they're not really popping it real aggressive usually. And when they do pop it, you're not really ever getting bit on the pop. That pop's catching their attention. And then when you're holding it still, they'll thump it. But I think that working that jig up and down, there you got a small
Yep.
little frame that you can work it up and down. And they
Yep.
like that little vibration. But if you go extremely exaggerate, then you get into a problem. But I think you can catch them in ice fishing the same way as in regular water too, because we've kind of caught on to that little shimmy and being
Yep.
the same thing. You watch those videos of ice fishermen, they will get that bait on the video. They'll have the live camera there. That little jig with the worm is just going nuts, and that's kind of what we do to get those fish come up and eat it.
And mainly is getting their attention, and that would be part of the do's and don'ts, which is a great question, kind of go along with the show title. But Billy
sure.
Barnes, he said he'd love to hear about Pickwick. I've never fished Pickwick. I know we might have some guys can actually come on here. He said couldn't hardly find anything on docks, mostly deep fish on brush. Any advice? First thing I would say, Billy, is probably downsize and using smaller profile baits and just very subtle movements, and also adding scent. On one of my top 3 setups for this month of December, I personally like adding scents the colder the water gets. It's just something that I've done through the years, and I guess I just have more confidence in scent whenever the water's cooler. So I would say downsize and add scent, and I would try that approach.
That's money for sure, especially this time of year. That's what I'm doing, downsizing. And when I say downsizing, this is an itty bit slab hunter, and that is a bone white chartreuse, and that is one of my favorite little wintertime baits right there. That bad boy will kill them if you can't get them on the big jigs. And I'm gonna jump into my fishing report for you guys real quick
Go
from
for it.
me, since I'm talking about baits, so I don't forget. We just went to the river of Grand Lake, so this would be, I believe, Spring River. We have I think we have two running in it, Spring and Neosho. So Spring River, we ran way up in the river, and I found fish on a trip. We found a load of crappie, but first thing in the morning, it's been super cold here in the 20s to 35, 40, nothing over 40 in the mornings. And we hit a cold morning, and these guys had to go a little earlier. I like to wait till the sun comes up on them really cold days.
Yeah.
It seems like the bite picks up from 10 to noon and starts kind of getting into it. But we started out on a great school of fish, and they would not move. And I was frozen solid too, so I kind of felt their pain. But there was there was good fish. I'm like, guys, there's a lot of 2-pound crappie in this mess of fish. And of course, they were new to it too, and they're like, oh, so you think these are crappie? I'm like, no, I know these are crappie, I promise. And we were starting out with the live roamers because that's what I've been really nailing them on. And they just were not reacting to a bigger bait. So I downsized to this actual particular bait. The first drop, we dropped down to the same school that we had dropping on for probably 15 minutes and not getting a fish to hardly move, and he caught one. I'm like, okay, so I switched the other guy to a little one, and we started catching them nice and easy, just slow and steady, which I don't mind a slow and steady morning. If they're biting, they're biting. I'm not complaining. So we kept them on until about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I said, just for giggles, let's throw the bigger ones back on because they were just still slow, and threw a bigger one on, shad style, and I noticed shad actually moving in when came up to their pile where they were at. So we put the live roamer back on there, and I had the pecan cream. And then, Brad, you're gonna die laughing. Do you remember when I had such a hard time naming this? I'm gonna try it. Speckled pearl, and pecan cream. These two colors right here are what we dropped on both sides, and I couldn't tell a difference on which one was doing better, but they absolutely wrecked them. They wrecked a super good mess. We only had 2.5 or 3 hours of fish and caught 40 really nice fish. So that was a great morning, and that's how it went on the river. And I'm kind of stuck when we get rain, the current's going to come in there and run all my mess. Yeah, it's going to push them out. So, but when it's good in the river, it is good. I always say the river fishing is a lot like a marriage. When it's good, it's good. But when it's bad, it's bad. So that's the river fishing for you.
You know, my today's bite fish are important. We're going to read some of these. I actually see some real good ones as well. I fished last week. Like I said, I did try out my power breaks and played with those a little while. But I got kind of consumed looking at fish on the fish finder or the live scope and chasing those around and playing with that even more. But those fish on the reservoir for me have been really deep, and for me really deep, and us southern guys really deep. I'm talking 24 to about 27 foot deep, not foot of water. I'm talking deep. And same kind of thing as the week before. You kind of had to get their attention and then slowly just bring it up, and they would eventually bite it. I don't even think I actually felt a bite last week. Of course, I'm using small profiles just like Dustin.
Man, yes.
I'm actually using the itty bit swimmers, which has a little bit smaller profile than the itty bits.
Yeah.
So I was using the smallest profile as I could just about get on the hook.
That is a tiny booger there. I don't even think I have one.
Yeah, I've got some right here.
Good. Yeah, you got to see these bad boys. That's when those are it, right? Oh, look at that color too.
Yeah, that's money, honey.
Yes.
But you know, I never even felt a bite last week, and it was really just seeing the bites more than actually feeling them. And I don't think if I didn't have live scope, I don't know if I caught a fish last week. They would just follow it up and inhale it using a light bite. I don't think these crappie really exert a lot of energy whenever they do hit these smaller baits, just because they think, well, it's just a little snack. So they just pretty much inhale them. So
inhale them, yeah.
They just suck them up and go on about their business.
You ever notice too? They'll kind of almost just sit still when they eat it. They come up and just hit it and kind of stay with it. It's almost like a bigger bait. They'll hit and kind of swing a little bit away, and a littler bait they'll just ease up. Well, especially this time of year, it seems like more than ever when it's really cold. The colder, the softer is always what it seems like around where I'm at. The colder it gets, the softer the bite. And then when things start warming up late February, you start getting some days they will knock a rod out of your hands. And certain lakes, all lakes are different, of course, and we've proven that a million times. But it definitely seems like that.
Kermit, he's got a fish for
a good question about an idiot. Yeah.
He's catching them on trees in
I think I
channel,
read that
30
one.
foot of water. So that's
Yeah, you're behind, old man. Come
man,
on,
I don't
keep
want to
up,
skip
brother.
anybody, dude. No, I'm not like that.
Hey, come on now. I ain't gonna skip him.
You just want to skip somebody. What is wrong with you? Then where's the Christmas spirit?
I did not want to skip him. I told you I read him already. I hit him. That was 10 minutes ago. Hey, but we got him twice on there. Thanks for the fish report. And if you want him read twice, put him in there early, and Brad will go back through and cover you guys.
Yeah, now okay.
Oh man.
I've actually used spoons. I seen Justin Sandbay's asking a spoon's work the other day for him. I've used spoons, and I actually tried a spoon the other day, and I could get a reaction, but I couldn't get a fish to react to a spoon. I do like using spoons on these finicky bites as well, but I really last week a spoon wasn't the answer for me. Maybe I had the wrong spoon on. I don't know, but
Yeah, it comes and goes. I've used those spoons from, is it jellyfish or what am I trying to say? You know which ones I'm talking about?
yeah, yes, jellyfish.
Is it jellyfish? I believe, and where they get hung, and they usually won't get stuck because you can shake them. They got a little weight on there, and I've really done well with those. It was harder to hook them, but
You lagging, man.
Spoons have never been my cup of tea. I've always had a hard time with the spoons. That's weird because you're lagging on mine too. I just wonder if it's. Can y'all hear me? Okay, am I dragging real bad on there, or am I seeing things?
I think you're all right. You kind of come and go, but it's kind of
okay. Because I'm noticing same with you, so I'm wondering if my computer or what's going on.
I think it's you, not me.
Yeah, whatever. Of course.
Coleman's talking about reaction strikes. Coleman, for me, I think about reaction strikes, and I think about casting to them something a little bit more aggressive long line jigs, pulling crankbaits. That's a lot of the reaction strikes. Something moving a little bit faster. Spider rigging. I mean, a lot of times we depended on spider rigging for reaction bites as well. It's just a little bit more movement. Maybe you can dive down and leave them a little bit more about the question. I'll see if I can help you out, or somebody else could even comment about it more.
Hey, they said we're both lagging.
We're both lagging.
Yeah. Lagging, making you sound like you got a thick mustache. That's good stuff. Hey, Wesley Miller is in the house. Big Sasquatch. My man.
Evan Berry's got a fish report from the res. Cooler water temps have them sent to the mud from what I'm seeing, doing good outside the channels with hair jigs, and seeing big ones are way deep, 16 to 24, and there's some deeper than that.
Man, thank you guys for all the comments. They're rolling in pretty dang good. And I'm going to let
Trent
Brad
Goss
get us caught up because I'm too dang close.
Trent's asking about heading to the reservoir. Yeah, it's a good time to actually go to the reservoir if you want to learn where the stumps are. It's still low. It's that winter pool, which our winter pool is only about 6 inches, maybe a foot difference between summer and winter. So we keep pretty much the same water level year round, but it's a little bit even lower right now because of just so lack of rain around here still.
All right, I got Don Chambers here. Is that what you're next there,
Yep.
Chad? Or Chad, Brad, I mean. Anyways, Don, when casting a crappie while using live scope, do you all use a slip bobber or just free line your jigs? I have did it both ways and still do, wondering what your preferences are. Don, I'm kind of the same way. I do both. I've done a lot of slip corking, really. I feel like I get more and more into slip corking during the summer months, but I definitely like both. Both have a time and a place for me, but go ahead, Brad.
I haven't done a lot with the slip bobber. If I'm casting to them, if I want a slower presentation, I'm going to lighten up my jigs, anywhere from a 16th and 32nd, even as small as 2 32nd ounce jigs. So I kind of control the speed of the fall and how slow I can present the bait more by the size of the lead head. Like I said, anywhere from a 1/32nd, 1/24th, even all the way up to some occasions up to 1/4 ounce jigs. So I think slip bobbers definitely could be deadly. I grew up fishing bobbers, so it's definitely, a great way to fish. Just me.
I'd say one of my place to use a slip bobber is docks. When I'm fishing docks, that's when I use them the most. So I could say if I'm brush pile fishing or casting the open water fish, I'm not going to use a slip cork. I'm just using a slip cork in a dock. So I kind of need to make that clear too.
James asking about what about December conditions, wind speed, directions, pressure, temps. Should maybe we stay home? For me, the answer is going to be definitely no. Even on tough bites, if I'm not catching a lot, I take that time and then actually go out and try to side scan and find different features of the lake I didn't know about before. So there's always something, regardless if it's the fishing part, that you can learn about your body of water, even when the conditions aren't ideal and the fishing it's not as active as it has been. Get out there and do some side scanning and actually learn the lake a little bit more in some areas that you're not familiar with. I know some rough days that I've taken out with people more on learning trips, and they said, how do you adjust this kind of thing? And you fish for a while, then you go find areas that you haven't been to before. So I don't think there's ever a day that you just say, of course, extreme thunderstorms and different things like that, I would stay away from the lake. But day in and day out under regular conditions, go out there and give them a shot. Change up these profiles, put sin on, keep changing things up. And I think a lot of people just get out there and, they don't have the bite they're looking for, and they just pack up and go home. And, that's why there's so many profiles. And actually the podcast that's being put out this week is on bait selections. It's going to be a real good podcast that'll be released, I think, Thursday. But it's on selecting jigs. So if you guys that's watching and really getting into crappie fishing, that podcast probably teach you a little something about profiles and different things where we really dive into it. And it's going to be a good one too. I got another res guy tuning in.
There's a lot of res guys in here.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to fish the res. Good evening from the res. 31 degrees this morning. Ooh, so it's starting to chilly up over there.
I actually went deer hunting this morning and got a big old cull buck, or about 200-pound 7-point. So I actually went deer hunting this morning.
Dang good buck. Well, somebody said don't go. Yeah, Chad Rogers. Chad, we've missed you, man. I'm glad to see you on here. He said don't fish the res in December. Go deer hunting. It sounds like that's about the plan. If Brad's not fishing the res in December, guys, better get off of it.
And John Breland, he actually comes on here and he says something about if we get some current, it'll pick up on the res, and he's exactly right. That's what I've been kind of waiting for too. Hopefully we get some rain over the weekend and put some current in the lake and make these fish position them better in the wintertime pattern. And probably some of the best trips I've ever taken on the res is when current is an issue. And Dustin kind of mentioned about where he's fishing out, is blowing those fish away. And if you get in a situation like that, if you got a lot of current pushing fish out of an area, they're going to go somewhere. They're just not going to just be gone forever. Mm-hmm. They're going to look for slack water, eddies, and get out of that current. And you can really have areas that pile up with crappie, and the fishing can be just amazing.
Lights out. Yeah, for sure.
When you got current.
Finding that spot can be challenging, but if you do find it, it is on. Stephen Sullivan said, I don't go for blackfish much in the cold winter time. Will they typically still come out of the brush pile to hit the bait? Stephen, they will, but you got to go small. In my opinion, if you go tiny for those blackfish this time of year, it seems like you can get them rascals to bite, but it can be tough. They're really a temperamental fish, and I can 9 times out of 10 tell you when it's a black or a brush pile full of black crappie because of the way they are so finicky and different chasing the bait. So
Roger's
I
asking,
blame you for not going after them, but you did. I'm lagging out good, am I?
You getting there in there, but we get you.
Okay.
Roger Mayfield asking, do either one of us use heated vest, and do they work? I've got a Milwaukee heated jacket, and that takes a little M12 battery pack, and it works great. I mean, I have a ton of batteries, so I can take 3 or 4 batteries with me and run it on high, probably for 24 hours if you needed to. But it would actually make you unzip it. You'll get so warm, and it's really a good windbreaker as well. So, Milwaukee, if you're listening, we're looking for today's sponsorships as well. So,
Yeah,
but no,
exactly.
seriously, they do work real well. That's the only one I've ever used as far as that goes.
Man, my wife has a heated vest, and when we go hunting or anything, she can't live without it. Says it's an absolute game changer. So I would imagine they are really nice. Um, a good wintertime suit or something to keep you warm. If you don't get a heated vest, I've got another option for you. Those Norfin suits are unbelievable as well. And a good buddy of mine, shout out to Josh Bolware, might have hooked me up with a good Christmas present. And I got me a Norfin suit now, Brad. So I'm serious. I'm the real deal. Yes, sir.
You
I
get
cannot
legit.
wait. Yeah, legit now. It don't matter how cold it is. This bad boy is ready.
Buck's asking a question about long lining. He has a lot of the itty bits. Will they also work while long lining, maybe with a spinner on? I don't think so. I just think by the size of that bait going a long line and speed, I don't. It would be hard for the fish one to see it going that fast, and but who knows? I mean, it's one of
You
those
might
things.
try it.
If you're not having luck, what could it hurt by throwing one on there?
Exactly.
So I just haven't done it. They might be the ticket, that
Hey,
very well could be.
one of my one of my do's and don'ts for this winter. Okay, don't go in with the set mindset like Brad with just one bait for long lining. Try something new. There's my don't right there. Get you that 80 bit and see what it is. Hey, throw it on the normal size jig head you use
Yeah,
for the big bait, but throw that smaller profile on there. See what she does. You never know. You never know.
that's very true. I mean, Patrick Pope, good seeing you here, man. Terry,
A lot of
oh,
comments tonight. Everybody's ready to go fishing. All this cold weather's got everybody ready. Of course, Big Sasquatch says the fish are biting everywhere right now in Louisiana. Claiborne, I believe, in open water out from the dam. Darbone, anywhere in the channel. Bistineau, around the deep stumps. Cypress, open water, and fish around the tops, brush tops, and in the Grand Bayou chasing schools of blackfish in open water. He has been annihilating the poor crappie. You know, I mean,
yeah.
speaking of blackfish right now, he's been getting a hold of them. I'm sure those are the suspended schools, I'd imagine, but he's getting a hold of the blackfish and looks like he's having a blast doing it. So, shout out to you, Sasquatch. Stay on him, buddy.
Marty Perry says, "What's up? Catching a limit pretty much every day at Toledo Bend, 12 to 15 foot of water, monkey milk on bottom."
I
Man,
like
I'd
it.
love to go back to Toledo Bend. That is definitely I
Is that as
officially
good as they say it is?
yeah.
That's a good one, huh?
I was
That's
pretty
awesome.
impressed with it. I'll be honest. It had more crappie than I've ever seen in my life, and that was
No
before
joke.
live sonar.
Really?
I remember
Dang.
going over some piles down there that just would down image, and you'd be like, "Oh my God, Stevie Wonder could see him on here."
Did you really just have to go there?
I mean, it flowed with it. Keith, he's asking on 80 bit, what's head would you use to get down to 25 foot? That deep. If I'm talking about like a brush pile, a stationary target, as far as casting open water that deep, you might have a little trouble. But uh, if you're talking about casting, I would use at least 2 1/8 to get down that deep and bring them back across. If we're talking about just single pole live scoping, go all the way up if you need to an ounce weight, inline weight from tungsten to a egg sinker or whatever you put up above it, and just go ahead and peg it. I'd say 12, 15 inches above the itty bit. That way you can get down to that fish pretty quick. Dustin fishes a lot deeper than I do, so let him
Yeah,
check it out.
25 foot's a good number for around here right now, especially. And I'd say I don't know. I got quite a bit of patience, but I think the lighter you go with your line, the less patience you have to have. And we'll throw a lighter line like 4 to 6 pound and use a 16th or 2/16ths,
Mm-hmm.
or same thing, split shot above a 16th. I like a 16th ounce, just a little less aggressive size, but a 16th or an eighth is perfect for 25 foot deep for me, no doubt. Because you still want that slow presentation, but you want to get down there pretty fast.
JT, I'm actually going to catch up with you. What's up, Ginger? I see you on
Good.
here.
Kenneth says the crappie are on Christmas break. They do seem like they're trying to take that break. They need that break. And then Eric Cagle says, nice mustache, Dusty. Eric Cagle also has been mauling them poor crappie. I see you ripping them out there, buddy. Take it easy on them, please. You're making us look bad.
I'm trying to catch up with you guys. Everybody says the mustache is lagging.
I know. Man, I could only imagine what it looks like lagging, too.
It's Dustache. I think I actually
Yeah,
had
big old.
somebody send me a picture today.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, just leave it out. It's all right. You're good,
No,
Brad.
no,
You're good.
I've got to do it. I won't tell you who sent this to me.
Eric says 38-degree water temperature. Oh my gosh, I can already tell you who sent that to you.
Who sent
Look
that?
at that. There's not much of a difference, is there?
There's really not.
I'm gonna guess Ken Robertson, but that's just my guess.
He must
Am I
have
right?
sent it. Yeah, you're
No,
right.
he's always editing people's pictures. That I literally don't think he sent me this picture, but I just was guessing that's him because I'm telling you, he is the ultimate at editing pictures or putting your face in videos that you don't. I mean, he's good. He's a wizard. Shout out to Ken Robertson, Power Crappie. If y'all are looking for a good rod, he is the man. But he is also very good at editing some pictures and videos that will make you cry laughing. Gosh. Oh, Ken.
I'm trying to catch up.
Where are you at?
I'm down to JT Evanberry.
I don't know. Let me jump in on. Oh yeah, there's JT right there. Yeah, that's where I'm at. He was saying he wears his heated vest, I believe, under his bibs, and usually turn the back on low, and it helps. Doesn't do much for the hands though. Yeah, I almost think in the wintertime, my hands, my neck, and ears, like my face and hands, are the biggest part that I try to keep warm because it seems like that's what goes first.
Matt, he's
And
asking
Stephen
if y'all
Sullivan,
fish what jig
right.
color in the winter. Would it be natural colors or bright colors? I think that kind of depends on the lake. Last year, for me, the color of choice pretty much all winter, which is kind of a bright color. And let me get it back on here. Maybe
Wow.
mud dauber and the baby shad was absolutely my best color last winter. This year, I think day in and day out, a monkey milk, eclipse color, a shad base color is really good. That's been probably my better colors this winter so far. Last winter, it was the mud dauber, so I think it kind of changed for me year to year, and maybe just the confidence with actually I'm putting out there. But for me, I think last year would have been mud dauber. This year would be monkey milk or eclipse.
Yeah, I kind of am on the same boat there. It definitely depends on water clarity, but I have a hard time just throwing it down to narrowing it to a couple because I'm throwing so much crazy stuff sometimes. I might grab in a clear water something just off the wall that works. So if I had to pick a few, though, I'd say pecan cream is one of my favorite. Monkey milk is right there for all around water. Monkey milk and pecan cream, one of them are going to catch fish. Oh, let's see here.
Billy
Steven
Coleman
Sullivan says
asking,
the Norfin Extreme 5 is top notch, and I'm definitely agreeing with that one, brother.
Billy Coleman is asking, do you use loop knots on double jigs or only on the single? I use them on the double as well. I just typically tie the top jig or the one that's further up the line, a little bit bigger loop knot than the one on the bottom. The bottom jig, I try to have it probably, I'm going to say a half inch or less. And the top jig, anywhere from an inch to 2 inches would be the range that I'd want it in, unless I'm long lining. Now, the one 3 or 4 foot above the bottom, and that's the distance I would place them long lining, is about 4 to 6 inch loop on that top one just to kick it further away from that main line. So it depends on the tactic, but I use loop knots both ways.
Yeah, I run 2 Palomar knots just because I don't know, I ain't got the loop knot thing down, and really haven't paid enough. I know, I haven't paid enough attention to tie them things, and it looks super simple, but I never really cared because I get stuck in my own ways. One of them don'ts to do this winter: don't get stuck in your own ways.
Don't do the stash.
I tie 2 Palomar knots, but what will happen on the top Palomar knot, you need a loop knot because it'll kind of get that hook cockeyed and not setting right. So the loop knot on the top jig is important. I don't tie one though. I actually just straighten that knot out and kind of really pull it tight and get that jig head setting straight and run 2 Palomars, but I'll break off a lot. That bottom jig, sometimes I've broke off because that or not, well, I just have it. If I get a good bite and set it hard, it'll pull that jig off, and this one will still be there. So a loop knot is probably more important on the double jig system.
Let me catch up.
I guess I'm not going on my computer again because she's lagging on me. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're definitely lagging more now. I don't know what's up with you.
Sorry, guys. Maybe this will help, but I'm sorry.
Evan, he's saying if my dad keeps watching all these live streams, he might be the next up-and-coming pro crappie fisherman. Hey, I like it, man. That's kind of like this week, the Facebook post I did. And if you've posted your kids up this week, I have looked at every single picture, and they all definitely made me smile, showing all these kids holding up crappie from all throughout the year. The different people was posting them. But if you want something to make you smile about crappie fishing today, go back and look at the Facebook page post that we did with all the different kids holding up crappie, and look at those smiles. It'll definitely make your heart feel warm after looking at all that.
Absolutely.
So if you posted somebody up, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I have more kid pictures with crappie than probably anything in my phone. That's one of my favorite things to do while I'm guiding. Being a guide that's probably my highlight, is seeing kids really get into fishing and like it, because a lot of times kids are going and not having a lot of success. So when we go and really catch them and just seeing how pumped up they are and ready to go again, I also love it too, because it means you got repeat business coming for a long time, especially when they're asking their dad to go again before wanting to set up another trip before they leave. I love that too, because the kids got way more pull than anybody else.
Before we get any further, guys, I want to show you another.
Kid have a great time.
We still probably have time to order this, but it's the deluxe crappie kit. That's on lurenet.com. Can get you, and I'm gonna post it on here. You can get 15% off this kit if you want to give a great gift or birthday gift to come by somebody that's getting into crappie fishing. That kit right there is going to have it all for you. A lot of different profiles, hooks, bobbers, rattles, you name it. It's just going to be a great gift for somebody. So check them out at LureNet. I'm going to put that up there. And also, if you use the discount code when you check out, you can get 15% off Bobby Garland stuff right now using Crappie Connection 15 will get you 15% off at lurenet.com. Special thanks to Bobby Garland for doing that, getting you guys a little bit of money back in your pocket, but also a great gift idea for people.
Absolutely. Jacob Waterman said, I need some better internet at the new house. I switched it up and went on my computer is what messed me up, guys. So I'll be fixing that next time. I'm sorry about this lag. And if I went to switch now, it'd kick me out and we'd be in a mess.
Yeah. Coleman, he's asking, any advantage of running forward and perspective on 2 units? I don't run 2 units as far as that goes on perspective. I would think, and maybe some of these guys, Eric Cagle and all these other great fishermen that's watching tonight can chime in on that question, but I don't know if it's a big advantage or not. I wouldn't think it would be for my style of fishing. I don't see it being a lot of advantages. I think if you were spider rigging, it would be a great advantage just because you can see all your poles at once and you can see any kind of stumps. The only thing I'm really not sure about when it comes to perspective is that just cutting through one water column slice. Have you ever used it?
It has like the same cone. It's just turned this way now. And it has its advantages, but you would have to spend a lot of time. It's almost like learning forward, and then you'd have to learn perspective. Like it's 2 totally different things. Then you can put them together. And there's only one man I know does that to a T and does it perfect is Jeff Larch. And he's the first person to show me that there is really a advantage to it when you're 15 foot of water, probably in shallower.
Yeah.
And he can pick crappie out so much faster and tell you the size of it before you get your forward to it. And I can see where it can help you on that. And I'm sure I still feel like I'm lagging because you're lagging. But anyways.
You're just lagging.
Yeah, there is advantages because you see the tops of the fish, if that makes sense. and he can tell a crappie and tell you what size, like I said. And then what he does is he has his perspective scanned way out, and he'll see a fish coming up, say 40 foot to his left. He'll take the forward view and only have it ranged out a certain amount. He'll get up close and then see it and pull into it and already have it lined up and ready because he knew there was a crappie there. But like I said, I've tried it a little bit, and a lot of great fishermen I know, he's the only person I know that does it and does it well. So I wouldn't recommend putting it on and trying to learn it, because it's just a whole another thing. And when I'm doing forward view, I feel like you're still going to scan that eventually when you're going up. What the perspective? Am I lagging out?
It's kind of funny though.
My bad. I can tell by your face when I'm lagging. But forward view is going to scan what you see on your perspective.
I think you might have understood that.
Hey. All right, sweet. Thanks, Carlos, for the shout out on the 70 stash. It is literally, hey, it's getting pretty dang sharp. I don't know about the points. I would like to
It's getting to the point that you won't ever be able to shave it. You know that?
Oh my gosh. I know. I've told the wife that. She's not real happy about it. But look, see, you kind of curl it up.
You can show you the picture again of your goal.
Yes.
I got a question here.
Man, that's funny. I need to clean up the neck beard.
Last couple this weekend, try out a new brakes. Do you prefer braid over mono while casting? Do you think one shows up better than the other?
Ooh, that's a good one. The braid definitely shows up better, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree, Brad?
Yes.
But mono is smoother to me with everything. So if you want to see your line, braid is the way to go, and you can get smooth enough braid nowadays to do it all. But seeing my line isn't as important as to me is smooth casting and reeling and all that, because that's what I'm doing all the time, and clients ain't really paying attention to their line as much. So I would say go to fluorocarbon, but mono or fluorocarbon, I don't know. Like I said, you can see your line, and a lot of people like to see their line, but I get so dang jacked up on getting that braid tangled and just in a mess. So I would say fluorocarbon is what most of my line, or most of the line I'll have on my reels, is like fluorocarbon 6 to 8 pound for what I'm doing. Now, I'm sure I'm lagging again because I can see it in your face.
We're gonna get. That's what everybody needs to wish Dustin gets some great internet for Christmas.
Hey, I'm good internet. Don't you guys worry. First of all, this will probably be the last time it happens, hopefully, because I don't think I've been doing this. I switched to my computer trying to get fancy and messed my whole program up. They always say, here's another don't for the wintertime. Don't fix something that ain't broke. Okay. Don't fix a program that ain't broken. And that is the problem I did today with me lagging out, but we'll be back in business soon.
You know, I'm the same way. Casting, I've tried both of them. I prefer the mono. It's just easy. It works, cheap, easy to change out. I just like mono whenever I'm casting. Like I said, don't have to worry about the rod tips or anything like that. There's a lot of guys out there that's very successful using braid, and that's what they want. And, you know, it's just kind of a personal preference that comes to me. But me, myself, I like mono over braid.
I used to be braid all the way and then switched to fluoro and mono, and I just liked it a little bit better, kind of back to where I started before live scope. We all got stuck into this. Everybody needed braid to just stick the fish and swing it in. And then we kind of, a lot of us have come back to our senses.
You know, James asking, and we'll have a booth in Knoxville in January or Gadsden in March. No plans of yet. For the coming year, we're planning on going to the Let's Go. I think it's the Collinsville show. Is it Let's Go Fishing show? The 1st of January, we'll be there. Also, Grizzly Jig at the 1st of February. We will be at those two shows, and planning on going up to the cornfield fishing event up on Kentucky Lake probably in April. We're looking to go into that one, and also a couple more. But
there's one in February
Grizzly
I'm really
Jig.
looking forward to.
Grizzly Jig.
Mm-hmm. Grizzly Jig. I'm excited for that one. Ken's always told me how good and fun it is, so I'm ready to go.
By far, it is a blast.
That's awesome.
A lot of people show up. If you want to get a room, you better go ahead and book it now because I'm sure they're about filled up already. But
I would imagine
it's definitely a fun time.
Carlos just jumped on here. I wonder if Carlos is going to that Grizzly. I remember he said he was on the fence last time when he had him on the show.
Yeah.
He also said throw all your mono away and floral for everything. Come on, Carlos, be a good sport, buddy.
Yeah. Eric's asking, have we had any kind of news on Archibald as far as the dam going to be finished? Definitely a shame. I agree with that. I've seen some different reports. I'm not seeing anything happening really quick with Archibald. A process like that, our government's going to take some time. So, oh man.
Gary Scott. Gary, it's nice to see you on here, buddy. I finally seen your comment here. He always says he's watching and tuning in, but I don't use the high vis. I probably should. I feel like I go through more line than anybody I've ever met in my life. It just gets so twisted so easy. You catch 2 or 3 catfish on it, and I've got to start respooling, and it just gets tore up a lot. And fishing deep, it seems like you go through more line. So I don't worry about getting the nice stuff, but if I fished for myself and just went out for a good time a lot, I would get high vis fluoro probably. High vis fluoro or mono. I would like to, like Brad says, I don't mind mono either. The lighter the line, the smoother it's going to be too. We need to do on here sometime putting line on our reels. I always say I'm going to do that, but putting line on your reel is really important too on how smooth the casting and everything you're going to have.
Yeah, and when you see a line, a spool of line, and you kind of see how it's coming off that spool, that's how I try to put it back on the reel itself.
Yeah.
That's something that if you do it the opposite way, you'll see it kink up pretty quick and want to jump out. And, that actually comes back to even the quality of line. In my mind, as far as mono, I can't, that's what I use and been using a long time putting them on reels. But a good quality line, I actually have some forgiveness even when it comes to that kind of issue. But however it's coming off that reel is how I want it to go back on the reel, however that loop is going.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to work with it.
Exactly.
So I guess that'd be a do and don't.
Yes, there you go. Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of videos out there and stuff, and I even put sometimes I put my line in hot water, let it set for 30 minutes to an hour before I put it on, just to try to make it that much smoother. Now, Brad, are you the one that told me that? I believe, or
maybe so. Yeah.
Thought so. You bet, Gary. Nice to see you on here, buddy. I appreciate it. That's a good Grand Lake fisherman right there, Brad. How about that? I got me a good old Grand Lake stud.
Come on, we got some Grand Lake folks in there.
He used to work at Honey Creek Outdoors, which is a good bait shop and has everything that you need for a little bit of everything. Just off of Grand Lake. It's right by the show you came on there. Is it Mid-South Tackle Show? Remember that coming down to Grove?
Yep.
Yeah, Honey Creek Outdoors is by that. So
okay.
It's in that town, Grove.
Yeah, I like Grand Lake. I like to go back.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Coleman says a lot of guys here in North Carolina, I believe, use 10-pound braid with a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader. Controls the fall and you don't break off when flipping them in the boat. I like it. Besides my line, I feel like my line of business, just the guidance side, is tying a leader on all the time. It just drives me absolutely nuts, and it feels like I lose that leader in no time. So I just don't have the patience to retie a leader. Again, though, if I was fishing myself, I definitely would have a couple rods with a leader on it.
Well, we actually got an update on the Eric was asking about Archibald. Robert chimed in and has got the great comment about it. Not really great. It's bad news, more or less. He said it could be 12 years before it's fixed. He said that's coming straight from the Corps' mouth.
Whoa.
Doing a 2-year study just to figure out how to go about fixing it. Then they said it could take another 5 years before they could get the funding. Man, what a shame.
Man alive. Hey, you know what? It might just bring – now, that's a long time, of course, but that might just bring that lake something special again, though, after they build. They say the newer lakes do better, so maybe it'll pop back. I'm sure it will.
I'm sure I won't
thank you guys for all the Merry Christmases and having the blessed holiday. I hope you all have a good one as well.
I know that Archibald, it was kind of not really a secret because a lot of people knew about it, but it was probably as far as giant fish, I mean, it was right there with Grenada, no doubt about it. As far as holding some monster crappie in it, so it's a shame for us crappie fishermen. What's up, Brandon? Both lag. I think it's just Dustin lagging. I'm not lagging. Dustin's lagging.
Yeah, good try, Brad. Let's see. Somebody said. Oh, okay. Daniel Morgan said that Brad, he has a lake within an hour of you that he wants you to come visit soon.
I'm ready.
Yeah, that's a good sign. Sometimes that can be a good trip.
Yeah, I've got another private lake right around my house here that's within about 4 miles that I'm trying to. I was told 2 weeks ago that it's holding some 3 or 4 pound black crappie in it, so I'm trying to talk to some folks to let me come out there. So if any of you guys from the Ridgeland area that might know one of the lakes that I'm talking about, hook me up. I can come out there and we can get in my boat. I'll take my boat over there.
See how power.
Yeah, we'll go out there and try that.
Really work.
Power breaks over there.
I'm telling you what.
I'm trying to make sure we ain't get.
This mustache is just about a month away from being legendary. There ain't no doubt about it.
Dude, it's already legendary. You can fight it if you want, but another thing I thought about gear for crappie fishing in the wintertime, and we kind of touched about this subject even before, and do's and don'ts. And for me, when I think about going out on the lake this time of year, is keeping warm enough to actually enjoy what we're doing out there. For me, layering up, and we talked about that before, but also every day when it's cold, personally, I like using my rain gear. It cuts the wind off really well. So my bibs, some of these bibs are very expensive, and there's no doubt about it. But if you fish a lot in the wintertime, layer underneath them, but wear your fishing bibs. It actually cut down on that wind and keep you a little bit warmer. So that's one of the tips I would say for as fishing gear, for as winter goes. Use your rain bibs even in the wintertime to help you kind of break the wind and the coolness. Are you laughing at me? You're laggy.
No, someone said Mario. I look like Mario. I'm just dying, man. Ricky said, any updates on, and this was also funny too, any updates on identifying the male and female crappie, the black dot around the rear end? I haven't either.
I haven't
looked at these wintertime crappie yet. I kind of forgot, but I definitely know it happens in the spring, but I might have to check things out and see what's going on. I'll make sure nobody's watching when I go to looking.
Who knows for a fact? Is that year round as far as you can?
Yeah, no, I don't know that. I know in the spring is when I learned it and started looking. That's what it was, because those male weren't like really black in Grenada. They have that murky water, but they turn black after, of course. Ooh, this is a good one here, Brad. What kind of boat prep or care do you all do to ensure that you don't have any issues such as plug freezing in or icing and not being able to get it back in? I don't really have a tip for that because I've ran into that problem a few times, and I'll just take a screwdriver and chip away that ice before I shove that plug back in there.
For me, when it comes about that same subject line, whenever I get ready to leave the ramp when it's cold conditions and I know it's going to drop below 30, I'm going to go ahead and lower down my engine all the way and actually let it drain for a couple of minutes before I tilt it back up and get ready to go down the road. And then actually when I get home again in colder temperatures, I'm going to lower my unit all the way down. That way any water that's left in there will go ahead and drain out. Other than that, I mean, I personally don't never take my plug out of my boat, so I don't ever really come.
Carlos just said that. He said, I never take my plug out.
Yeah, I never take my plug out, so it's never an issue for me to putting it back in. Run an automatic bilge pump, and you shouldn't have too much issue with that, I guess, unless the whole thing freezes up. But hopefully that I get washed out before you get home. But for me, it's lowering down the lower unit.
Patrick Stone just jumped on here, and he's the one that taught me that. Patrick Stone, real quick, he said the Milwaukee heated jacket is the bee's knees for cold weather fishing. So you guys have sold me on one of those. That's game over. I'm going to have to get me one. But Patrick, can you tell the spec on them fish's rear end this time of year, or is it just in the spring that they have the black dots like the male and female? Because see, he's the one that turned me on to this, and let's just see what he says. Matthew England, though, he kills me. England Expeditions, guide out there in Shelbyville, Illinois. He said he's looked over 100 of them since he's watched this and never found any black dots. So
it's all females. He's catching all females.
Exactly. Listen, Matt, you're in all females, dude. You got to go find the males, okay? You're looking at all females. That's funny.
Actually, people from everywhere are looking at fish now.
Go out there and say something.
I mean, I really don't know. I mean, it's very, like I said last week, it's very interesting to me.
In the spring, I can't wait because I'm going to bring a bucket of fish up here in my attic, and I'm going to show you guys what it's about. Oh, this is the wrong Patrick Stone. He said it wasn't me. It was the other Patrick Stone. All right. Well, I appreciate it, buddy. I knew that. I was just seeing if you did. I was cleaning male and female fish those days. All right, Matt, I guess I'll take your word for it. Just because there's eggs in one and not the other don't mean I'm just joking.
Seth, that's actually a really good question. He says, do crappie tend to school up more in the winter? The lake I fish has minimum structure other than docks. Where should I start? Look for them. Bang. You know, I think it depends on the conditions. On some of our lakes here, the colder the gets, the more the crappie will school up out in open water. Also, they'll get on those docks as well. So I know docks and looking for big schools of open water fish during these colder temperatures would be a really good key. Some of the funnest trips I've had in the wintertime is on schooling fish when it's really cold. You won't, you know, it gets a little bit more challenging to find them because kind of like the old saying, 90% of the fish from 10% of the water. Well, if they get to schooling really tight, it's probably about 95% of the fish are in about 5% of the water. 5%,
exactly. But man, when you find them, it is on for sure. But I agree with that exactly.
Well, good.
Yeah, I definitely think they like. It seems to me that they like to school up a lot better in the winter and do more suspended action than in the summer. Kind of like just following those bait fish around. It's just that time of year.
Well, definitely, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming on here this week. And if you haven't done it yet, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button on the YouTube side of things. And if you guys are watching for Facebook, help us out. Let's go ahead and get to that 25K Crappie Connection on YouTube. Jump on there, hit that subscribe button. It can be our Christmas gift.
Absolutely. Look at that.
I like it.
Nothing.
So, yeah, definitely.
I'm on the naughty list.
Enjoy your family. Enjoy this time of year. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for coming on every week. Thank you for Bobby Golden Base for putting this on. Also, just a reminder, I'm going to jump on TikTok. If you got any more questions, actually, me and Matt's going to do a little after show on TikTok on the Crappie Connection. So if you still want to talk some crappie fishing, we got a little bit more time. I'm going to jump on here in a few minutes when we get wrapped up. But we will be back next Tuesday night, as always, 7 o'clock. And we're going to actually talk about, you know, this upcoming year, things to learn for 2024 when it comes to your crappie fishing. And definitely, if you got questions next week when it comes to your wanting to get into crappie fishing more, from Carlos to even this Patrick Stones, he's a stick as well. Eric Cagle, you know, Wesley Miller.
It's in the name.
Carlos, I mean, the names, John Mayo. We've got some really good fishermen that join in every week. So, Chad Rogers, I haven't seen Chad comment.
He did. He just came in there. He said this time of year, it's all about the
All right. There he is.
I can agree with that, buddy.
Yeah. Definitely.
Jeffrey said, what about next week's show? I think are we still going to do that since it's after Christmas? Yeah. So we'll see you guys before the New Year. So just Merry Christmas, not Happy New Year yet.
Yeah, we'll do Happy New Year next Tuesday night.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. I appreciate
thank
you guys
everybody
very much.
For coming on every week. And like I said, got a really neat podcast coming out this Thursday on jig selection by I'm trying to think who was on the episode with me.
Brad, somebody's behind you, buddy.
Oh my God. My wife's cat.
Watch your neck, buddy.
That's the first.
Funny.
It's pretty wild.
There you go.
That's like a little Rudolph.
You didn't even know he was on there?
No. That's Rudolph. She's on my desk now. But
That's
Merry
good
Christmas.
stuff.
See you guys next Tuesday night. Thank you for everything.
Merry
Use
Christmas,
the
guys.
Crappie Connection code LureNet to get you 15% off, and it's Crappie Connection 15 to get you 15% off, guys. Merry Christmas.
7 o'clock next week. See y'all.
Holla.